Hey, brother, and welcome back to New Rockstars. And yeah, let's begin. Sorry, guys, I'm joking. That's just some references to some other YouTube channels. Welcome back to Fortune Theory. Hello. I didn't tell Patrick I was going to do that. I wanted to see his reaction. So got a live reaction of Patrick thinking I'm spasticated. So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, if this is the first time you're here, I'm Oliver. This is Patrick. Feel free to check out some of the other videos that we've done as well. And welcome to Fortune Theory. I almost got the name wrong there. Welcome to Fortune Theory. Welcome to Fortune Theory. God. Dear. Okay. So in this video, we're going to be talking about James Bond, in particular the new film that's coming out, which is No Time to Die. This is again a Patrick video, but I happen to be a James Bond fan slightly myself as well. So be a bit like the Batman.
Who isn't? I think at this point, unless you just live under a rock, I think most people know of Bond. And I mean, I there's a couple of people that probably like Bond, but most people. I'm not gonna. You can't say that sort of thing anymore. But yeah, most film goers like Bond. But there we go. But yeah, No Time to Die. What do you think of it, Ollie, so far? I mean, you just watched the trailer to sort of refresh your memory of it. I watched it today another couple of times, but yeah, what do you think of it? Obviously, as far as you know, like, do you know anything about it so far, really? Obviously, the premise that the trailers have given, but...
I've been a big fan of the Daniel Craig take on the character and the 4 films that have come before it. Like, I get that there's some people that have, like, an iffy with, like, Spectre and some of the other previous films. I got into it really by watching Skyfall first, because that was a massive film.
Oh, what a film to get into it. That's one of my favourites. That and Casino Royale.
I know
Craig favourites.
I know that I got a model helicopter that was used as like a sort of merchandise tool that was very rare to find and collect, and it was off someone who actually worked at the company that produced the helicopter for the final scene when they're at the house. I've got it somewhere actually. Like I think it's in my windowsill, but I can't reach it from here. And it's broken. Sadly, it has broken one of the wings, unfortunately. So it's only got 3 wings, but I kept it in the packaging for so long. Finally, take it out, and wings broken. So yeah, but that was like a sort of merchandise prop replica.
Well, that was a local. Well, in terms of like the Southwest and Somerset, the company Westlands was like the main
Without giving away too much of where we are, for those who don't know us.
Luckily, Westlands covers quite a large area of like South Somerset.
Yeah,
anyway.
So Westlands is the company that produced that helicopter for that. For that film, as in the one that you see in the final, like sort of boss battle, if you like, with Mr. Silver in the big house at the very end. That helicopter was produced by them. They also got a special. The workers down there got a special preview of the film as well, and they got models of the helicopters, and I happened to be lucky enough to get my hands on one.
Pick one up for yourself, because I've seen like a cinematography breakdown of that, and they're like using because they had like probably I don't know how many types. I love how we're randomly talking about Skyfall now, but they had like so many models of like various scale models of the helicopter, and then obviously compared to the one they're actually flying around the actual location, and obviously have to go to a soundstage later on and shoot like various scale model sizes to actually blow the thing up, because you can't really blow I say you can't really blow a house up. I think they probably blew the model up, and they just set like a 1/8 scale model on fire.
They did the whole I think they did the whole like Fast and Furious thing, where like in the 7th film they blew up the Dom Toretto's house, but I think they blew up like a model. They made like a small like sort of model scale, like a model railway sort of scale building, and it as a replica. I can't even speak now. Replica of the actual building.
I'm not going to escape Fast and Furious talk for a while. We're only an episode away from it.
I know. Yeah, so that was our previous episode. There'll be a link to that as well.
Yeah.
So you can go see that, but that will be at the end.
But No Time to Die. It's meant to become. It's been not been as pushed back as other films. Well, I mean, because of COVID in the last like 12 to like 18 months now, it's been just obviously now a hit for the industry, and it's just been a colossal hit of like pushbacks and date just waiting for possible release dates. And I think I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think No Time to Die's had many. I think it just had one.
It's had a few
Um,
changes because
yeah.
not only due to the pandemic, but then obviously due to reshuffling, they've got to try and do it so it doesn't clash with other big like box office stuff. So again, sadly, Fast Nine, Fast Nine had to be moved, or James Bond had to be moved. One of the two had to be moved for the other one. I think the same situation happened with Venom 2 that was originally meant to be coming out as well. At some point
Yeah.
late last year or this year, it had to be moved again for that as well. And when I was watching the trailer for No Time to Die just then, it just feels really sad because it's not just that film; it's a lot of films. They've got this issue where sadly, they intended for it to come out for when it was meant to, and still isn't. And
No.
it's a real hit for the industry. It's a real hit for the company, and it's a real shame for the actors who've portrayed the characters in these films for stuff to be revealed on a census that was so soon and probably so unintended if the company knew this, to have like information about plot, about characters, about details and all that so much sooner. But obviously, hopefully, when it comes to actually seeing the films, and this one in particular, we'll still get a good enough ride as we would if things were in a normal position regarding trailer releases and the built up of expectation and anticipation, etc.
Yeah, there was an interesting. I don't know. It was advertised for No Time to Die, obviously, but I'm guessing there's been a lot of instances for other films where they've had brand placement in their films, and of course, well, Bond's kind of a popular one for having like brand placements, and particularly the phones in the new one. Apparently, I think it was the new Nokia, because there was even a Nokia ad that happened to have like the new double O woman that we'll talk about again in a bit. Um, and they're like, I've seen it once or twice, but it's like this Nokia commercial, and they're just like, it's a Bond like mission, but it's all just close-ups of the new Nokia. But of course, that's last year, so as far as the news
It's
went for that, it
it's
was
funny that
like,
you mentioned that actually, because like when I was watching the trailer just then, I was thinking like, what time zone is this? As
yeah,
Ant-Man once said, where is this set? Like because obviously like spies and stuff, they always have like their futuristic gadgets and whatnot. Like in this one, they've got that sort of like hover plane that converts into like some sort of submarine, don't they? When they like sort of
well, yeah, they've got
chuck
that
that
almost like a
plane out
glider
of the
sort
other
of thing.
plane.
Yeah.
And James Bond says to the new character, like, have you ever ridden one of these before? You ever driven one of these before?
Nope.
Or whatnot? So, nope. So I'm guessing that maybe it's an older invention, but like, I don't know. If you know, write it in the comments. Like, if you know when each specific film story is set. But yeah, like, to go back to your original question of my opinion of the film, based off the look of this trailer, it feels very like each James Bond film almost feels uncanny to me. Like each sequel doesn't matter like who's it like, despite the incarnations, like James Bond, Daniel Craig, like seeing all of his individual movies of James Bond, they almost feel like they're not in the same universe as each other. They're like because they don't make huge references. But it wasn't until like Spectre that I started to see this like sort of real connection with the previous like three films, and this one feels like a more of a direct sequel than a new story, but it still has the element of bringing in new stuff. Like you got what's his name, Rami Alec, is that his name? I think that I literally just had to
What,
research
the
that to make
villain?
sure I remembered his name.
You're gonna kick
Yeah,
yourself when I
playing
explain the
this.
pronounce Rami Malek.
Yeah,
But
please,
yeah.
please don't hate me. I'm shit with pronunciation. Yeah, so and he played Akman Ra in Night at the Museum,
For
and
God's sake.
yeah, so I have to say that, like one of my favorite characters. Who else did he play? He's played someone else as well. Played
I
quite a
mean, he
few
was in
roles.
Mr.
He's
Robot, if
giving.
you've seen that on Prime as well.
Oh yeah, I love
That was
his
big.
new character's take in it. I love like the fact that he's got this very like Phantom of the Opera kind of theme going
Well,
for him.
and you're gonna laugh at this because of one of our like socially slash personal experiences, but there's obviously the big question of, is it in any way related to or connections with Doctor No?
Ooh, I like
Ooh.
that.
Mainly
Villain
because as well,
connectivity, pawns, build-ups. I like
in the
that.
links below, there'll be a Meet Safin trailer. There's a couple of links to No Time to Die, and one of them is like a Meet Safin, and it's such like a Doctor No vibe based off it. And then when like Rami Malek talks about it, it just gives off that so much, and especially like the facility that it's all in, and like as a villain, he looks like one of the like your typical awesome Bond villain. I can see you pissing yourself. You are thinking of that scenario, aren't you?
Yeah, you know exactly. So basically, to explain, a few years ago, me and Patrick, when we did media back at college, we went on a trip to London to go to like the BBC, and we appeared on the One Show.
Good old
one time
London
when,
Bristol trip. Well, not
Luke,
Bristol, London.
Luke Evans
Yeah.
was there. Who else was there that night? Do you remember?
It
When we
was
went on the One
what
Show?
is her name? We were on the One Show in the crowd the night they were at premiering advertising The Alienist, which is on Netflix, which is starring Luke Evans and I think her name's Elle something. Oh, I'm gonna kick
Elle
myself.
Fanning? Is it Fanning? Franning?
No, it's not Elle. I don't think it's Elle Fanning. That's I'm gonna look it up right now. The Alienist. I'll find out in like 3, 2, 1. Who is
We
your
saw
name?
Pacific Rim Uprising in the IMAX theater as well, which was brilliant.
Yeah,
Well,
quite a
not
film.
well. Hopefully, people won't hate me for this. Not my personal choice. I would have preferred to have seen.
Oh, it
Infinity
was
War,
far
but
from.
it
I
wasn't
was a
out
bit
yet.
disappointed that I had to pay for a film, and the timing of when the film releases, and we had to see the new Pacific Rim. To any fans of Pacific Rim, I'm sorry. The first one was a lot better than the
Yeah.
second one. Dakota Fanning, by the way, I've seen it for like 5 minutes.
I do like the fact that they bring in what's his name from Star Wars in that film though? Who played
Oh,
Finn
what,
in Star Wars? What's his name?
I've forgotten his name now as well.
Brilliant.
Damn it.
Not even talking about it.
I know.
But yeah, the point I'm getting to with the London trip is like, yeah, we did all that. Obviously, we met some celebrities. I even met and spoke to oh my
John
God, I can't
Boyega.
remember.
Jesus Christ, I'm terrible with names today. Well, I'm
Oh my
always
God,
terrible
how
with
have I
names.
forgotten his name?
Who are you
Who
forgetting
sings
now?
Who sings Shotgun? What's his name? Oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten his name.
Wait, who do you mean?
The singer who sings the song Shotgun.
George
I'll be
Ezra.
riding shot-
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I met
were
George
you were right next
I
to
met
him.
George.
Yeah.
I met George Ezra. I stood
You
right
were
next to him.
poking
And I spoke
distance.
to him as well, and he said that I should sing, and I was like, "Well, that's
Yeah.
iconic because I actually do sing as well." And and he didn't even know that, so that was amazing.
A cool
But yeah,
bus
the
for
point
you.
being is that we went back to our like hub.
Oh,
our,
yeah,
like,
this story.
sort of hotel hub, and we stayed up till like 2. Chatting to the girls in the room next door, but just before that, we couldn't sleep literally because we were laughing so much.
Because
so one
we
of our
happened.
friends, and I won't,
And you explain
one of
it.
our friends,
Yeah.
and I won't say who for data protection and stuff. He was staying in the room with us, and he went to bed a little bit early. And the way he was sleeping,
Just to
Just like
explain, it
Dr.
does
No.
sound like we were perving on it. We promise. It was because one of us, one of our
We're all
mates,
in the same-
happened to
we
be
were all in
cleaning
the
his
same
teeth,
room.
like in the same room, and the end of like the bunk beds, like where he was looking out the window. I think we were just like at the end of our beds, and
you
then
got to add the clip. You got to add
he
the clip of
started.
us laughing at it as well.
Why? I don't like. I'm in pajamas though.
You're in the point.
I'm putting myself on the floor because
my underwear is like showing up my butt.
Because our mate just decided to random look like you were cleaning his teeth by the window and then looked. Everyone slightly glanced at the bed and just started like, just like because it was just and now blurred. And basically, he looked like Doctor No in his sleep. And it
And
was,
one of our mates filmed him. Well, he didn't film him. He filmed us laughing at him. So
it was
like,
brilliant.
like we were because he was asleep. We had to like remain so quiet, but we just couldn't bear it, and because of it, we couldn't sleep. So we went to just go play cards in the room with the girls next door. We had to be up at like 7 or we had to be up at like 6 or 7 the next day, and we wouldn't go to bed till like 2 because we weren't tired. It was just so fucking.
And we're still pissing ourselves. That was brilliant. But
3
yeah,
years on, we're still laughing.
It was still brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah. So Rami Malek
Well, that was a great
plays
experience.
Safin, who does give heavy Doctor No vibes, and he just looks like such a good Bond villain. And
I'd love
from
if they
everything-
like had the plot twist that he's like some sort of like distant relative or something.
Who knows? I it's just such a hype for that because I love Bond villains and like two of my there's the stereotypical like Bond villains that sort of have the big like lair in the volcano or whatever, and then you've got like people like Doctor No, and then you have these set more. That's why I loved Skyfall as well, was because it had a more down to earth uh sort of, not saying that like living in a volcano isn't realistic because you know, your own
All I can
judgment.
think of is them like somehow surviving, swimming in lava, like getting everything sorted. Hot, 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 hot. Computer.
But you know, like Skyfall's villain, oh my god, Javier Bardem, Javier
Mr.
Bardem
Silver.
plays Mr. Silver, and he is one of the best
I
Bond
love
villains.
his character, and I love the actor who plays him as well.
Oh,
So
this
great.
running James is exhausting. as his house is on fire in the background,
Remember that scene?
and he's so
I
good.
want to watch that film now.
We'll see it later.
Bye. I'm gonna watch it.
But he was one of the most realistic Bond villains we've had for a long time because it obviously Skyfall stemmed from like his past, like Bond's past, and Mr. Silver being like part of M's past and coming back like a former agent coming back. But obviously we're not talking about Skyfall.
That felt like such a, even though we kind of knew that, that kind of felt like such a plot twist when it really came to it at the end. Like with all the personal shit. And, like,
Yeah. Yeah, it
Jesus
was.
Christ.
Well, yeah, that was a whole personal journey for Bond on Skyfall, and then of course Spectre linked to that as well, sort of bringing everyone from like Le Chiffre back in Casino Royale all the way to Christoph Waltz's character. Oh my God, of course your name, Christoph Waltz. Who do you play in Spectre?
I think it's Franz. I think his name was Franz, was it?
Was it Franz Oberhauser or something? Am I thinking?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, he was.
I love, like,
pretty
this is
decent
what I
Bond.
mean about it feeling like very like continuity wise to the previous movies. Like, you know, I feel like this is probably, I don't think this is the first time, because I think in Spectre they had Mr. White, and I think he was a villain in, was he a villain in Quantum of Solace or
I
Casino
think it
Royale?
was Quantum of Solace. Yeah, I think you're right about Quantum of Solace because
I think
Spectre it was
even
mainly
said-
just it was Franz Oberhauser. I want to say Hans for Oberhauser for some reason. My brain is changing the names around. I'm having to say it and it sounds wrong, but it's no, it's right.
Hans Frobenhauser. Oh, that sounds
But
sorry.
we could be butchering the name. Who knows? But yeah, that was the
Yeah.
Christoph Waltz's character was the character played by Christoph Waltz was the main villain for Spectre, and then that was how we found out of all the links all the way from the Chief
With
to
all the
him.
like all the pawns with all the previous villains and whatnot, like you
Its
know,
name
and
is
they brought
Spectre.
back the actor who played Mr. White, who I believe was some sort of, by this, like, I have seen both Quantum of Solace and Casino Royale, but I don't remember them like, you know, in depthly.
No.
Like, they're the sort of films that I used to watch because they made me relaxed. And then I watched Skyfall and I actually got indulged into it. I actually became an active fan. So
Yeah, I
like,
loved
I got, from the vibe I got from his character and based off what James Bond said during the film, during the car scene, yes, Quantum of Solace or Casino Royale, like he names drops one of the previous films, and I think, there's a reference there. Like, oh, that's the first time I've ever heard him say that. Like, you know, there's probably like references that I just don't understand because I'm not like hugely political as a person, but like. When they brought his character in, you could just tell that there was like this huge link. And now you're going into this new like fifth film in the Daniel Craig saga of it. You've got Franz who's back, and the weirdest thing is you've also got the girlfriend character back. I can't remember her name either, but you know, usually the James Bond formula is he gets the girl at the end, but then she gets killed, and then you know. He's got a new one in the next one, and that it happens in every film. But this time it didn't happen because, like, and even Franz didn't die either. Like, I'm assuming like most of the villains die. Like, maybe not Mr. White if he was the main villain. I'm not sure. Like, again,
we butchered the name.
rusty
It wasn't
with
even
my-
Franz Oberhauser. It was Blofeld. Of course, yeah, he plays Blofeld. Christoph Waltz. Why were we saying Franz Oberhauser?
I think I swear his name was Franz.
Wait,
Was it Franz?
Spectre cast. It was Blofeld.
Brilliant.
I don't know why I didn't think of Blofeld. Idiot. But yeah, Ernst Stavro Blofeld is Christoph Waltz's character in Spectre and in No Time to Die, because of course at the end of Spectre, if you haven't seen Spectre, spoil Spectre. Um,
It's
you
been
know,
out since 2015. It's been 6
yeah,
years. Come on, guys.
his helicopter crash because Bond shoots it down in the Thames at the end after the old MI, after the
And yet
old
he
building
still
blows up.
manages to survive.
Survive, and he doesn't shoot him because he's like, do it, but no, out of bullets, joke,
Mm.
drops him on the ground, and then yeah, he's
And then he just
like
walks off with the girl.
happily ever
But they're
after.
getting really
sort
in
of thing.
depth with like the backstory of her character in this one as well. Like, opening up a new like sort of mission of espionage, and it's like, obviously because that's what James Bond is. But like the way they're going about it this time, it's not him just like being. I feel like it's not going to be him offered a new job like by M. Ralph Fiennes is M, by the way. Like, he's not going to be like handed a new mission. I feel like he's just going to be like sucked into this new like mission, like more freelance and out of nowhere sort of thing. But maybe there's a bit of both, if you get what I mean.
Oh, I am beyond confused now because I literally just searched Franz Oberhauser and it comes up with Blofeld. So I'm going mind blank at the moment. Oh, that is a great. I really hope my
Both
camera
names.
picks this up. I'm gonna put a picture of this up just in case, but that is a brilliant Christoph Waltz right there, deep fake. The whole Blofeld, brilliant. Oh, god damn it. No one could see that, by the way. You did that.
Oh, well,
Do it.
repeat. Cut to me.
It's on you. Blofeld, yeah, we got the name right. I don't know why I went so mind blank there. But he's back in No Time to Die. He's locked up and he's like, it'll be the death of you.
Yeah, I love
Trailers
some
below,
of his quotes
trailer
and
links below.
monologuing as well. Oh my god.
James.
Literally everything is everything a lot of these characters do and say is like cinema gold in terms of like quotes. Like
and that's
for
what,
this sort of movie. Like,
'cause that's for me is
it's
every
almost
Bond.
the definition of it.
For me, every Bond is such a new, like you were saying, it's quite uncanny. It's every Bond for me is so new. It just, even though it's part of like, I know technically every new Bond sort of resets the story in a way for that next Bond, next actor, actress to play the Bond, whatever they may be, and obviously. You good? That made you piss
Sorry,
yourself.
it's the way you tripped up.
No, maybe.
Carry on. I'll recover.
But yeah, that was the whole thing of before No Time to Die was even being announced. Recover. Is that we were like, are we going to be getting a female Bond? What's happening? What's going to happen?
So about that, I've
now
had
we've
some people
obviously got-
speculate this about me, and my like theory / I might have heard this from someone else a while ago, but I can't remember her name. The new female actress, the one that I was talking about earlier, where he said, "Do you know how to fly this thing?" What's her name?
I will find out. I'm on
Find
it
out.
right now.
This is Patrick's job tonight. He's finding out actors' names and character names. Like, I know we should. There's someone in the comments right now being like, "Come on,
We should
guys!
already
Like,
know this."
we should know this shit."
Is her name Nomi?
Don't talk about something if you're not
Nomi.
prepared to talk about it. Like, yeah.
Lashana
yeah,
Lynch
yeah.
plays Nomi, the new 007, I guess, because James Bond is
So-
now retired. So,
And that's what takes the story in a new direction, because obviously I think they said for like the last two films, oh, James Bond's last one was Spectre, last one was Skyfall. Well, obviously not, because he came back for Spectre after Skyfall, which he'd also come back for, and now he's coming back for this one as well. So I think this is definitely going to be his last one in his own saga, but I think
they really had
they're
to
going to keep it.
kick him to
They're
get
going
this
to keep
one.
it canon
Really had to pay
to
him more for
him
this.
being. They're going to keep it canon to Daniel Craig being James Bond, but James Bond is not going to be back in the next one. That, like they've done with a lot of franchises, like Doctor Who. Well, that's a TV show more or less, really, isn't it? Ghostbusters. There's others, but I can't think of what they're called. What others have there been? Where they've like gender swapped characters. In the
Probably
Marvel comics,
tons,
they
and I
had
can't think.
they gave Thor a sex change in the Marvel comics at one point.
Don't know why I find
yeah,
that
that
so
was
funny.
that was interesting. Yeah,
There's a
I don't
few.
think it's going to be like
But
a gender swap.
with
Like, oh,
this-
that she's going to be like called Jamie Bond. Like the way it works is
I
that
like
she's
what
gonna
they've
be...
done because Like, yeah,
She's
sorry,
going to
yeah,
be
they
double oh
haven't
007. She's not going to be
they haven't
James Bond, but
changed
she's going to
Bond.
be double oh 007.
Yeah, that's what I love is that people were thinking, is they're gonna be like, is Bond now going to be a female, or is it gonna be a black Bond or
Jamie.
whatever ethnicity, sex, whatever it would be, change in the Bond, changing whoever it's gonna be a Bond woman now, or whatever. Like there was Idris Elba
Same
talking, I was
story,
even April
different.
Fool's
Same
today.
story, swap sex. Like,
Yeah,
it's all men. It's all men now, and it's her. Like,
but
that'll be an interesting dynamic because it definitely takes us away from what we're used to,
yeah,
with it being the other way around a little bit. And not only are they like supporting like women in that take, but also like the diversity goes even further with like black and white and all those things without coming across the wrong way. Like
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's kill two birds with one stone with that, and that's like you got yourself a
And this
brilliant
is where I'm not
brilliant new
sure
take
of
there.
where they're going to go with this, because if they are not killing off Bond, I don't know how. Well, I know how they would, but
Very
it's like,
thing is, I
but
feel like that would be an effective way to do it, but at the same time, no. I think, well, I could be completely wrong about this, but I feel like his character, if he's retiring, he could either die and sacrifice his life to save her, perhaps, and then she like lives up his
yeah.
legacy, becomes the new 007, and is, well, what's her character name? Is that on there as well, or is it just the actress name?
Who? The new
Um, yeah,
Nomi, I think, is the new Bond, is the new Double O.
Nomi.
Nomi, yeah. Lashana Lynch
So
plays
no,
Nomi.
so Nomi will be the new 007, but she won't be James Bond, but she will be in like his shoes,
Because
doing
that's what
what he
they've clearly
does, and
done
goes
now.
under the 007 title. That'll be how they go next, and then it will be her character from then on, still continuing from Daniel Craig's saga, but it will be her instead. So
Yeah.
goodbye any new like reboots of the character, like, or reincarnations of the character. Daniel Craig will probably be the last. She's like the new reincarnation kind of him, but at the same time she's not, because she's not Jamie Bond.
Yeah.
She's
And this
Nomi.
is what confuses me a bit, is because it's technically always going to be Bond films, but it won't be a Bond film anymore if there
Well, they
isn't a
don't really
Bond.
call people in the generic public call them Bond films, but when you see them like advertised and titleized, they always come through as 007, and that's why it's
Well,
effective that
yeah.
it's still
And that's why there
that,
will be
because
that.
they keep the music, they keep the 007 theme going throughout the trailers as they do, and they just like they have her. She's the new 007. It's going to be clear from the trailers and the stories that it's continuity from James Bond, even if the
Yeah.
character herself isn't James Bond herself. But perhaps, like, even though he's retired, perhaps he's in it. Perhaps he becomes
Well,
like
that's the
part of
whole
it.
premise of this one, is that he's retired and he's sort of subtly, discreetly sent back to that's why I came back to play or something is the quote in the new trailer, and he's basically come back to help the new Double O, who I think, I think that's what the trailer shows, is that the new Double O comes to find Bond basically, and he's like retired in the Bahamas or wherever it
Oh,
is
so
in the
he's
Caribbean or
he's
whatever.
like sort of he's like kind of her mentor now. So it's almost
Uh,
like she's the main character, but she's not.
she's like the new main character, and and he just sort of hidden away now, off in a tropical place to live
He's
out
like the
retirement.
so he's kind of like the sort of co-main slash perhaps Dieter Agnes to the film,
He's sort of
perhaps.
like the main slash side, main slash supporting artist, I guess now. Although
Well,
he's technically.
it's kind of like this is a really weird scenario. You're gonna hate me for this, but Cars 3, where it's like Lightning McQueen is like the main character. Yeah, that's
Here
the
we
eye
go,
roll.
here we go, here we
Lightning
go.
McQueen was the main character, but the story succeeded and showed off the female car, Cruz Ramirez, and gave her like the happy ending. And he was kind of like he's the main character of the story. It follows him, but he's like unwillingly and secretly kind of mentoring this new side character who's going on like her journey. Is it like that? It kind of sounds like in that case it's that sort of thing then, I'm guessing, story wise.
Well, here's the thing, because
But
of
James
initial.
Bond is still the protagonist of the story because it mainly follows him, like the way Cars 3 followed McQueen.
Well, this is where we get
But
onto the writers as well, because to me, it seems like it's been so uniquely written, and that there's more than just your protagonist, your anti-hero, your supporting artist and your thing. Obviously, you have those in a story, but there's obviously more than just the protagonist and the supporting artist in this. There's like Bond is a mix between the supporting artist and the side hero, I think, and it's what it's come across to me as in this is that people that don't like, the change in Bond are still going to be happy with it, at least for now, on this next Bond, because Bond's still there. He's been called upon basically by the new Double O, and traditional fans of Bond are still fine with that because, hey, Bond's still there. He's going to still come back and do the dirty work and get almost blown up by the villain somehow. But yet, for the new people wondering where Bond's going to go or what's happening with it, we've now found out Bond isn't changing. It's just a Double O. It's changing. He's no longer a Double O. He's a retired Double O, retired agent, retired Commander Bond. That's it, I think. And yeah, so he's now just retired Commander Bond, and he's no longer a Double O, former Double O, and now Nomi is. As Lashana Lynch plays Nomi, who is now the new 007, I believe.
They'll really set that. Yeah, they'll really set that up for the sixth film in that like canon series. I'm guessing.
Yeah. But that's what because I'm really interested with this because I mean I haven't really followed writers in terms of all of the Bonds, but I've kept quite close attention to the news regarding this new Bond because of just how long it's been taken to come out because of COVID and just reshoots and whatever, because of like product placements because of COVID. But
I think it's like the kind of main franchise where people are actually satisfied about it being a franchise and new stories keep coming out because it's just one of those.
It's almost not a franchise,
great
but it is.
storytelling.
It's physically a franchise because
it doesn't feel like one. Each film kind of feels like I said earlier. It's like it's almost uncanny. It's like
each film is its own,
and that's what makes it kind of feel like it works. Like you could watch. I feel like up until Skyfall, you could probably watch like some of those and not have to really watch the other ones because everyone knows who James Bond is. Everyone knows like who he is, what he's gonna do, what's probably gonna happen.
I mean, in a way, each.
That's how
Bond.
they're written, isn't it? It's written so you like it. It's written so you can accept more.
In a way, each new actor that plays a Bond, and now possibly because it's not Bond or everything, each new actor that has come along and played a Bond has kind of, like I said, a bit reset the franchise in a way. So we've sort of got these few, like, multi-part franchises that don't consist of, like, the 25 Bonds so far, but they are just... like we had the Sean Connery Bond, we had the we've had Daniel Craig. Oh my god, I'm going mind blank tonight.
Pierce Brosnan.
We had the Sean Connery Bond, Pierce Brosnan Bond. We've Sean Connery Bond. We had the Pierce Brosnan Bond. We've got Daniel Craig Bond. Well, I can only think of the three Bonds. Who else? Oh my god, this is terrible. We're doing the Bond film, and I can't think of all the Bonds.
Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig. We also had. We've had more.
Roger Moore, Jesus Christ.
Roger
Moore,
oh
my god. How did I forget him? Oh, R.I.P. Sean Connery and Roger Moore, like within the last 3 years. Oh yeah, Sean Connery died last year. God, that was
really sad.
Yeah, we had loads, didn't we? Oh yeah, that was a lot actually. But yeah, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, Sean Connery, Roger Moore are like the four most notable, at least for me anyway. But yeah, but like every single
Timothy Dalton
as well, yeah. Every Bond, well, he was a villain, wasn't he? I believe Timothy Dalton was in one of the Sean Connery days, or I think, God, my knowledge. I'm gonna have friends screaming at me in this podcast.
Yeah, people are just gonna kill us.
You're an idiot. Like, remember,
you're such an idiot.
Know what you're talking about.
He was considered for the role of James Bond.
But I think he was a villain, or at least
I don't know if he took
villain.
it. Hang on.
But yeah, like I was saying, each Bond has sort of reset the franchise because although we've had 25 so far, each new Bond has sort of made franchise 2, franchise 3, franchise 4. And so it's the novel that was the original Bond novel has just evolved over time with each new Bond, and now we've got to where we are, where we now have a new 00 coming in. Bond has like officially retired but coming back to help by the looks of it. We've got Safin, who is this new villain, possibly an old villain that's come back, but we don't know. He looks like a new villain that's just inspired by old villains, in my opinion. Uh, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The writers, yeah, I was going to get onto the writers. There's well, I got news because I haven't seen. I think so. There's four writers as far as I know. Cary Fukunaga, who is the director of this film, has done stuff like, well, as far as I can think of at the top of my head, the only thing I can, he's done a lot more than this, but True Detective, I believe he was the director of season one, and that was an insane TV series. Yeah, definitely go watch that. And he has, what else has he done? In No Time to Die, Beast in the Nation, The Aliens as well, apparently. But well, this might not just be directing though. But he's the director of this and the writer. But there's been four main writers, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge was one of like the key writers that apparently I read earlier. The Daniel Craig sort of offered her to come in and invited her onto the show of writing, and she's most noted for, well, a bunch of stuff. Done a couple of voiceovers, a lot of roles, but I think she was the entire writer, producer, director, and star of her own series, the Fleabag, which is on Prime, I believe. I haven't seen it. I've just seen sort of parts of episodes and certain scenes. It looks incredibly funny, so definitely go watch that. But she's one of the main writers of it, along with three other people. One of them being Cary Fukunaga. I don't know the other two. Probably producers as well, maybe. But that's why I'm interested in this one, because it doesn't feel like just, it's got your regular Bond, but I feel like it's going to have some twists that we're possibly not expecting.
More
but
twists than we've already like come witness to because of the trailer,
yeah.
as most films do. But this one in particular is like definitely pulling away from the standard like Bond tradition. But I feel like in a way it's going to be sort of like climactic to James Bond, but
Yeah.
open the door to some new possibilities that hopefully
That's the
people will
thing.
be happy
We
with.
we don't know what's to come, but I like the possibilities of this. Every Bond, well, I'm trying to think of just any Bond that was predictable for me, and I can't. Skyfall was probably the least predictable in line compared to No Time to Die. Some of them have just been slightly predictable. You never really know, but obviously you can sort of guess what might happen considering all previous Bonds that have led to up to the current one. But this one does seem to be the most, well, one of the most sort of unpredictable ones. You can kind of make assumptions based on the trailer and what might happen based on certain shots from scenes, but that's the same with any trailer ever. But I'm looking forward to it, and who knows what could happen with all of the characters. Madeline Swan, I believe, the daughter of the guy from Spectre, who I cannot remember his name. He is called Madeline Swan, who was, what's your name? Oh my god, this is bad. Um, what was his name? The guy, you remember in Spectre when they're in like that cottage in the middle of like Switzerland or whatever.
What, when he shoots himself in the head and
Mr.
he
White, Jesus
gets...
Christ, yeah, Mr.
Yeah, I
White's
literally just
daughter.
said that earlier.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
gone
that's
mind
got...
blank. I
he
told you,
gets
I'm all
like
over.
crows eating his brains out, which is quite like a disturbing scene for a film like that. But then there's quite a few, isn't there?
Yeah, Madeline Swan is the daughter of Mr. White, and oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course, because Andrew Scott's Max was the main sort of villain. That's the one thing I did like about Spectre. I took on to that for like literally 20 seconds. Is that Spectre and Skyfall had very villains that were grounded in reality, because although the Spectre's villain was technically just Blofeld, we also had Max, which was basically the insider villain of like Bond. He was trying to shut down the bomb program, saying it's old fashioned and don't need that anymore. Don't need agents. We've got security and CCTV all over the world now. Why do we need it? Andrew Scott is an amazing actor. Who's done such a good job with that. But yeah, on to No Time to Die. It's interesting to see what could happen with this new one, and hopefully it lives up to its expectations, because I am hyped for this new one, and I think Ollie's gone for a second, but yeah, I'm excited to see what can happen because again, I've not followed who's been writing the Bonds leading up to this one. I've been interested in just seeing all the ins and outs of the possibilities of who's been on board with this, who's been doing what basically, and I originally just thought it was like Phoebe Waller-Bridge was like a co-writer with Kerry Fukunaga or someone, like he's the director. But I'm glad that, well, it's great to see there's like 4 co-writers of this, and it's got so many channels, it's got so many directions it could go in. Obviously, they're sticking to the typical Bond route for it. They've got Blofeld is still in it. He was locked up at the end of Spectre, as we mentioned, and it's going to be me for like 5 minutes now. But it was Blofeld is still in it from Spectre. He's now locked up, and it's sort of this hidden secret from Madeline, the sort of who is Safin, played by Rami Malek now after, because he's sort of this new almost Doctor No type character, type villain, now brought in, sort of like a come back to play sort of character, or that new type of character that's like the come back to play type character, but he is possibly a brand new style of character. But again, this is what's so intriguing with it all, and it's what is unpredictable. But again, you can go through trailers and see what's the possibility of what's going to happen with certain bits. And here he comes, Mr. Card. Yeah. I was just talking about the writers anyway. That would give me a few minutes to talk about the writers. Well, at least I only know 2 of them. Kerry Fukunaga's directing it and was a writer. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a writer, invited in by Daniel Craig, I think. And to be honest, we'll probably end this in like 10 or so minutes, or maybe shorter or a lot bit longer, but I can't think of much more. But there's many ways it could go. So I'm going to break down from memory the trailer and from what could happen with it. So from what I've seen, Bond is approached by the new 00, and she basically brings him back to London, and they've basically just got to see Blofeld and question him. Now he's in like ultra secure like confinement in like that glass like bomb proof like I don't know what's it called, almost like a industrial lift sort of thing with like bomb proof glass that elevate it like a mechanically drives towards them. But yeah, he goes like, James, it's been a while, how have you been? And you got the selfie angle now. But
no, because I'm letting my phone charge a bit, so
no
apologies for that. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know how well you can
it's
see
fine,
it.
no worries.
It's kind of like the in the first Avengers film where Loki's in that kind of like oval. It's kind of a bit like that, but it's not like, they're not in a ship that's gonna like plummet it 10,000 fucking feet.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know. They might be.
But okay,
but
yeah. So
not.
for the trailer, yeah, the new Commander Bond, who is James Bond, obviously, I just went mum like again. He's sort of the new Nomi, who is the new 00, comes to sort of get him and brings him out of retirement. By the looks of it, they go and see Blofeld, and he meets Madeline while seeing Blofeld, and then he creates tension between Madeline and Blofeld, I believe, and they go like, who's this Safin? What's he after? And then that's like a sort of, he backs off, Bond backs off from Madeline, going like, wait, so what? Who is this? What is he? And it's like, what is he after? And he goes like, this secret me as well. And then I think it's just like a wild goose chase technically for Safin, and what could happen. I mean, I don't know. I'm interested to see how insane of like a convoluted maniac and brainiac Safin is as a character. He's meant to be like unredeemable to a certain extent, because that's what Bond villains are. Wants to just take over the world. and there's just endless possibilities he could do. And his like plantation he has as well. Safin's got this like, again, it's a bit like Doctor No. Is a crazy facility, and it's like these almost like plant workers just do. He's got some sort of system or ecosystem going on in his own surroundings, in his own like home and base, whatever it is, and it just looks it looks nuts, and it's something I'm incredibly hyped for as just like a Bond villain's ultimate lair sort of thing. So yeah, they go there. It does look like there's a trailer shot where Madeline is. I reckon Madeline's put on a train, and I was trying to remember what happened, because I know that Madeline's put on a train, and I know that he, like, I think it's like Bond sending her off or something. At least Carl, you helped me mention. You picked that out for me and showed me. Well, you didn't show me. You told me about that. That it's possibly like her wanting to help, but he obviously won't let her because he knows it's just way too dangerous. Maybe, who knows? But that's at least deciphering like the main trailers, and then you obviously got Meet Safin. All links below. Like the first trailer and the last trailer below, and then the Meet Safin trailer, of course. That Meet Safin trailer was amazing. I'm just this new part. Then Safin just looks like the best villain ever. I was excited about Skyfall. I was excited about Javier Bardem's like Mr. Silver. He was hilarious villain, and again very. I liked the fact that in Skyfall, I'm gonna go back to that just for a second. That there was they wanted to make.
You are allowed to go back to it.
Well, I only want to talk about No Time to Die if I can help it. But yeah, Skyfall had, as Silver, he had a very grounded in reality. He was very grounded in reality, and he didn't stick out as like this big bad wolf of a. Although he was terrible, he had these really bad sort of ideas and ego about him. But end of the day, he was just a former agent himself from wherever it was. I forget where he was based, and he I believe went rogue, I think, from what they said in Skyfall. And then from that point he just well, and then in Skyfall he sort of comes back up again from the surface because they're bit the 00 program, and you know the MI program is being sort of hacked from within itself, and then we find out Mr. Silver's part of it all on his own little private island. And then obviously they send like it's a goose chase there to try and like capture him, and then they finally capture him on his base, on his own private island, sort of desolate, abandoned like city, sort of large town in the middle of the sea, middle of the ocean. And then that goes to where he's locked up, or they plan to be locked up. Then in massive underground fight. That was a bunch of fucking scenes. And then any film. And then they go to and then they go to the final. M and Bond finally go to his home where he meets what's his face.
I fucking love that scene. That's like, to me, that's like one of the most iconic Bond scenes in any of the movies, not just the Daniel Craig ones, but all of them that I have seen.
Yeah.
And probably even the ones I haven't seen as well. I expect that's like probably the same perspective from many of the fans out there who are watching this video.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, because of my cock up with my phone battery, if that's been included in the video, I do apologize that my audio now sounds different as well, I expect, compared to like the first part, which I've just had to say. So
yeah,
brilliant planning on my part.
But yeah, that's
But knowing Patrick, he'll keep it in to humiliate me.
It'll be fun.
Patrick does the edit, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to laugh at. Like the fucking up our own mistakes.
There we go. But
elsewhere.
No Time to Die, 30th of September 2021, unless it's pushed back again. But I don't see why it would
Fingers crossed. Hopefully, it won't be pushed back.
We're coming out of lockdowns now. Restrictions are coming out worldwide. Basically, restrictions are easing worldwide, as far as I know, especially in the UK and
fingers crossed
everywhere I know of. So, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else to talk about in terms of Bond. 30th of September 2021.
I can't either. But unless it gets pushed back or delayed for like another month or a while, because of like the only thing I can think it clashing with is James Bond is not James Bond's the only film. The Venom sequel, Let There Be Carnage. I think that could be the only big thing.
Yeah, potentially.
It could potentially clash with going forward for its release date if it is similar, because I know it's meant to be, or Morbius if they're doing that roughly around the same time. Or maybe even Spider-Man.
Well, typically as long as it's within like 2.5 weeks normally, I think it's fine. I know there have been some releases.
Well, they need a weekend, don't they, for the box office to get big, especially for those films. Like that is a weekend. That is a weekend-made movie for box office release. For box office.
This week, this year is going to be nuts though, because basically between like August and November, we're going to be getting like 10 films that have been on delay, and new films that have been made like this year and last year, because of course films that were meant to be coming out during 2020 were delayed until like literally Tenet, which we talked about in the first episode, was the only film to come out last year because Nolan was just like, nope, release it. Well, that'll probably get some re-releases again. I hope so, because I need to see that in IMAX. But there's going to be so many films that come out now at the end of this year, and it's going to be crazy to see them all, and then coming into next year as well. Batman, March 2022. That's going to be good. That was episode whatever it was. I've lost count.
That was episode 3.
Good count.
Jesus Christ, we haven't done that now.
I know. 7.
So yeah, due to my unfortunate cock-up, and also because we've kind of noticed that we ramble a lot during these unnecessarily. Like when we say enough, we've got enough to say. So you'll see us when this is out. And as for next week, we'll be doing a different kind of video because next week it's you know what it is, Patrick.
Okay, because he's a really weird guy, it's the 8th episode. Don't cringe on me. Cringe quietly. For some reason, he gets freaked out by a number as if he's being tasered.
Like the number, I hate it. There's something about it. It's just, I hate it. But we are going to make it kind of half special, half separate. And also because we've been wanting to do this anyway, we're going to do something a little bit different next week.
Oh, I've forgotten.
I think. Is that next week's episode? I think it is.
Well, next week is episode, the one you hate, 8. And it's, well, it was pretty much planned at the moment to be Chaos Walking. So that officially comes out today. Available on all streaming services to rent now. At least in the UK anyway. It was.
This is the first I'm hearing it. So, we are planning to do some videos in the future that are a bit more like. So we're talking about franchises, standalone films, protagonists, antagonists.
Yeah, we're gonna drop in and out of
and all those sorts of things.
We're basically doing almost 10 episodes of. We're doing like 9 or 10 episodes on specific films and specific franchises, and then we'll do like a best of funny moments, episode 10 or 11.
Yeah, episode 11 will be the bloopers.
And then
so
from then,
all my cock up in this episode will be in there, and other stuff that you wouldn't have seen that would have entered the cutting room floor just for the specific episode. So
and then from episode from there onwards, we're not going to have just a complete clean slate of it, but we are going to do like. We're going to spend a few episodes just then talking about heroes, villains, franchises versus standalones, and actually not just talking about specific films, but we're just going to be talking about types of films, types of characters, types of story arcs, types of character studies, types of screenplays, all that type of filmmaking stuff. And we may go technical. I might go technical with it by accident and just make some people brain dead on a podcast, but who knows. But regardless,
but without boring you into that and all that malarkey, that's kind of like what we've got planned going forward anyway. So I think until you see us next week for most likely Chaos Walking, which we're now probably about to now watch at least a bit of anyway to get started for next week. I'm Oliver, this is Patrick, and we are Fortune Fury. So we'll see you next week, guys.
Thanks very much.
See you later.
See ya.